Pass rushers are special players, reserved for the true freaks of the NFL. As quick as DBs and as strong as offensive linemen, they are brought to the league for one purpose: sacking the quarterback. Over 4,000 pass rushers have played in the NFL since its inception. And since sacks became an official NFL stat in the 1980s, only 10 players have ever recorded 20-plus sacks in a single season. The 20-plus sack club is for the freaks among the freaks. These are the 10 players to ever reach 20-plus sacks during a single season. Our journey begins with Mark Gastineau, the man who set the bar for what a dominant pass rusher could do. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches and weighing 266 pounds, Gastineau was a freak who terrorized quarterbacks. But it wasn't just his size that made him special. It was his relentless motor and his signature celebration that literally started fights on the field.
Ferragamo by Gastineau. Gastineau goes into his celebration. And something like this is bound to happen.
A core member of the famous New York Sack Exchange with Joe Klecko, Marty Lyons, and Abdul Salam, Gastineau racked up 22 sacks in 1984, setting a record that would stand for 17 years. He struck fear into the hearts of quarterbacks across the league. His sack dance, though controversial, became iconic, embodying the brash, in-your-face style of 80s football. What made Gastineau truly unique was his combination of size, speed, and raw aggression. He wasn't just content with bringing down the quarterback. He wanted to make a statement with every sack. This approach made him one of the most feared defenders of his era, but also one of the most polarizing. Love him or hate him, there was no denying Gastineau's impact on the game. Just 2 years after Gastineau's record-setting season, Lawrence Taylor decided to crash the 20-sack club, and let's just say he was a football revolution.
Been fortunate to coach a lot of great defensive players, but be talking about Lawrence Taylor now, that's a whole different conversation.
Taylor's 1986 season was the stuff of legend. He notched 20.5 sacks, narrowly missing Gastineau's record, but he redefined what it meant to be an outside linebacker. He was a constant threat to blow up the play in the backfield anytime the ball was snapped. His combination of speed, power, and football IQ made him nearly impossible to game plan against. At 6 foot 3 inches and 237 pounds, Taylor moved like a defensive back, but hit like a freight train. His impact was so profound that he's often credited as the reason why teams started reevaluating the importance of the left tackle position.
They play. First down, Lions. Here comes the rush by Taylor. And you talk about strong, you talk about athletic ability, look at the...
Offenses never knew where he was going to line up or how he was going to attack. He could bull rush a tackle, speed rush around the edge, or drop into coverage and pick off a pass. This 1986 season was about Taylor establishing himself as perhaps the most dominant defensive force the game had ever seen. He snagged the league MVP award, and no defender has ever won it since. Before we continue, if you like this video, please subscribe and get notified of more backbreaking football content. The 1980s weren't done giving us defensive superstars. In 1987, the Minister of Defense himself, Reggie White, joined the Sack Club.
Best player I've ever played with or against, by far, Reggie White.
The dominant defensive player in this league.
White was a physical marvel with the strength of a bulldozer. In just 12 games, thanks to a player strike, White racked up an incredible 21 sacks en route to winning Defensive Player of the Year. What made White special wasn't just his sack numbers, though. It was how he got them. White popularized the hump move, where he'd engage an offensive lineman and then use his incredible strength to literally toss them aside like they were rag dolls. Just look at the numbers. During his time with the Eagles, White had 124 sacks in 121 games. White's 1987 season was a masterclass, a man amongst boys. He often drew double and even triple teams, but still found ways to get to the quarterback. His combination of power, technique, and relentless drive made him the prototype for modern defensive ends. And his impact went beyond just that season, as he continued to be a force well into the 90s, playing for Green Bay and ultimately winning the Super Bowl in 1997.
There's the most sought-after free agents. Reggie White just signed for $17 million to play in little, though pretty, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Looking across the NFC North Division, another freak athlete was wrecking in the 1989 season. At 6'5" and 289 pounds, Chris Doleman was the prototype of the modern defensive end. Big enough to hold up against the run, but quick enough to get to the quarterback with scary efficiency. This is how Paul Wiggin, Coleman's defensive line coach, described him. Chris Doleman was the prototypical football player at defensive end, and particularly pass rush for that particular time. In 1989, Doleman recorded 21 sacks and forced 5 fumbles. He was a threat for quarterbacks every time he stepped on the field. His combination of size, speed, and technique made him nearly impossible to block one-on-one, forcing offenses to constantly account for where he was. It was his all-around game that really set him apart. He could stuff the run and easily chase down plays from behind. His 1989 season wasn't a fluke either. Doleman would go on to record 150.5 sacks in his career, which is fifth most all-time, showcasing a longevity that few players can match. It would be over a decade before another player joined the 20-sack club, but when it happened, it was in historic fashion. In 2001, Michael Strahan set a new standard. He racked up 22.5 sacks, breaking Mark Gastineau's 17-year-old record. Along with those sacks, Strahan forced 6 fumbles and recorded 24 tackles for loss. Strahan's record-breaking season wasn't without controversy. His final sack, which broke the record, came when Brett Favre seemed to give himself up, leading some to question its legitimacy. But regardless of that one play, Strahan's season was undeniably impressive. As the Giants' primary pass-rushing threat, he often faced double teams and chip blocks, yet he still found ways to get to the quarterback. Strahan's relentless approach made him nearly unblockable. And his magical 2001 season was a masterpiece. It left him as one of the most beloved and respected players in NFL history when he retired, and it would take 10 years before the Sack Club got its next member. As we entered the new millennium, the game evolved with much more dynamic passing offenses. It was a golden era of quarterback play. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees were making greatness feel like your average Sunday. The evolving offense meant that defenses placed more emphasis on pass rushers. Teams needed elite talent to keep up. Before long, the 20-sack club started to see new members more frequently, starting with Jared Allen.
Playoff football, you gotta have a mullet and a Fu Manchu.
Allen was a character known for his mullet and cowboy persona. But don't let the hair and shenanigans fool you. Allen was a game wrecker. In 2011, he put together a monstrous season with 22 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. He had a relentless motor, never giving up on a play, often earning sacks through pure effort. Allen's 2011 season was a perfect storm of skill, opportunity, and sheer will. He wasn't the biggest or the fastest, but he had an uncanny ability to get to the quarterback using a variety of moves, from bull rushes to spin moves.
I approach you from the front and kind of like, wow, this dude's pretty serious. Then I walk away and you're like, damn, he likes to party with 2 R's. You know, football's the same way. Hey, dude, check out this dude with a mullet. Oh, wait, he just body slammed me and my quarterback's on the ground. See, it's just people are off guard.
The story of the 20-sack club can't be told without J.J. Watt, the only guy to break into the list twice.
Unbelievable, Rick.
Dude, I never seen anything like it.
At 6'5" and 288 pounds, Watt seemed unreal. Too big to be that fast and too strong to be that agile. His 2012 season announced his arrival as a generational talent. In just his second season in the league, Watt exploded for 20.5 sacks, 39 tackles for a loss, and earned Defensive Player of the Year honors. During his prime, Watt was arguably the most dominant defensive player of all time, racking up an astounding 69 sacks in just 4 years.
All I know is, you mess with me, you got problems.
The crazy thing was, he did that mostly as an interior pass rusher. In 2014, he matched his 20.5 sack total from 2012, added 29 tackles for a loss, and not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns, and single-handedly dragged the Houston Texans to the playoffs in one of the best individual seasons the league has ever seen. It was complete dominance in every facet of the game. He was the definition of a game wrecker. From destroying linemen to batting down passes at the line, Watt's peak years redefined what it meant to be an impact defender in the NFL. You want to see a picture of a defensive monster? You're looking at him. But he wasn't the only guy lighting it up on defense in 2014.
At linebacker from Georgia, number 50, Justin Houston.
The same year Watt had his second 20-sack season, Justin Houston joined the club with 22 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. A 4-time Pro Bowler, Houston's 2014 campaign came tantalizingly close to breaking Strahan's record, falling just half a sack short. In a pivotal Week 13 game against the Broncos, Houston sacked Peyton Manning 3 times, completely disrupting Denver's high-powered offense. What made Houston's achievement even more impressive was his versatility. He excelled not just as a pass rusher, but also in run defense and coverage, making him a true 3-down linebacker in the Chiefs' 3-4 scheme. Houston could beat tackles around the edge with his quickness or bull rush them back into the quarterback. His hand usage was also elite, allowing him to shed blocks quickly and break up the pass. Houston was the main reason for the Chiefs' defensive success in 2014, but in 2018, the next player on this list had an even bigger impact for his team. Aaron Donald redefined what it means to be a dominant defensive player. In 2018, Donald racked up 20.5 sacks and a league-leading 25 tackles for loss, despite being an interior defensive lineman. It was a season for the ages, and he was voted as the #1 player in the league. What makes Donald's achievements so impressive is the level of attention he draws from offenses. Over the last 5 seasons, he was double and even triple teamed a league-high 1,510 times as a pass rusher. That's 300 times more than any other player. When talking about the defensive GOAT, nobody has come as close to being mentioned in the same category as LT as Aaron Donald. And his 2018 season is a big reason why. His ability to consistently generate interior pressure meant that no pocket was safe, forcing quarterbacks to move and making life easier for edge rushers. At 6 foot 1 inch and 280 pounds, Donald wasn't the biggest defensive tackle, but his combination of strength, quickness, and technique made him nearly unblockable. His 2018 season redefined what's possible for an interior defensive lineman. And he's only the second player ever to reach the Pro Bowl in every single year he played. The other? Barry Sanders. Not bad company to keep. TJ Watt is the most recent member of the club, and he could very well be the best. Considering the names on this list, including his own brother, that is a bold statement, but it can also be true. In 2021, TJ Watt matched Michael Strahan's record with 22.5 sacks, and he did it in just 15 games. Known for his tenacity and passion on the field, TJ has already established himself as one of the premier pass rushers of his generation, and is most likely a lock for the Hall of Fame. He has led the league in sacks 3 times in 7 years. No player has ever been on top more than twice, let alone in such a short space of time, not to mention the impact he has on his team.
Well, when he plays, they're 71-36-2. When he doesn't play, they're 1-11.
Jesus.
Okay?
His 2021 season was his most dominant one to date. In a Week 13 matchup against the Ravens, he sacked Lamar Jackson 3.5 times with 6 quarterback hits and forced a fumble that sealed the Steelers' victory. It all stems from his uncanny ability to diagnose plays faster than everyone around him. Like his older brother JJ, TJ Watt is a complete defensive player. He's excellent against the run, can drop into coverage when needed, and has a knack for creating turnovers. As TJ enters his prime, it's exciting to think about what he might achieve in the coming years. It's getting to the point that game-ending plays feel like an every-week occurrence. In 2024, he got the Steelers playing at a record-breaking pace. It's only a matter of time before he joins his brother as a 2-time member of this exclusive club. And hey, if you enjoy this content, stick with The Longest Yard and subscribe for more football content.